charge for that?
It's not as blinding, but it still kind of sticks out a little bit.
September.
come back.
Like
I don't know.
$6 million man, stronger, faster.
I'm afraid to have it checked. As long as I can lift my arm, I'm good. I'm getting better every day.
Trevor, how you doing?
Down where the girls are.
How's it going, Russ?
Very cool. Nice for curling on. Yeah. Over here we go. What's wrong with you guys tonight? It's probably due to weather. Lack of food. Crazy travelers tonight. Or too many handprints on the ice. The little water bottle holder is one of those sides. Hey, maybe we could use the stabilizer this game. Oh, that might go. Oh, this is not mine. Oh. She said, who's this? I can feel it. Who's this? Hers is the one just by itself. We still have lots of time. Really? What time? We have 13 minutes to practice. Wait, what? We have 5:15. Oh yeah, wait, what? I thought it was at 5. Okay, well, maybe I'll go to my band thing. Shut down.
Oh, yeah, right. I somehow got against like 2 different teams.
Hey, I was like, you guys all left? I was like, I thought it was at 5. Well, I don't even know because everybody was going in. Not everyone, but no, but I felt like there were men coming, so I was kind of like, they're very representative of the club. I don't know. Well, if Ryan gets out here, apparently. You can.
It's like for the
When you're done, I'll just grab it, so you don't have to worry about it as long as you're right on
like
it.
when you measure, they're like postcards. You didn't know that one. No, I would have had a 0. To be honest, though, we thought that it was 3 then the real, so we didn't take the third one as seriously. So we actually had a 14.
We like leaned into the top 4, and I was like, what are you doing?
it's like really hard. Well, you're thinking that, oh, it's fine, you know, because you're from the house, you're just doing your job or wherever you're.
And then I'm at the hotline and I'm like, so that's light, no?
I know. When is it ever 3 and then the real
Never.
one?
I've never done a tournament like that.
That's how we see never before. Wow, Phil and Bill are matching.
Oh, we gotta get a pic. Get over here. Good?
Yeah, me too, Sarah. Did you knock the set time?
Alright, here we go.
Oh, I forgot. I haven't been in a year.
I've been saying forever we should just buy our own set, 'cause then we can.
We could, but then they're always like, we have some.
We have some. We want to get. Where are they? And why do they never work when we do get them? Seems like everybody's ready early, so for our day. I do. Let's get this show on. I did. They're like not wearing shoes, so. Right? No. This is like second game.
Yeah. Hi-ya. I mean, yeah, hi-ya.
Did you fall earlier? I saw you fall. Are you okay?
It's ice, it's slippery.
I know, right? I'm sure it's fine.
No, but I do it. At home. I have his old rooms.
And his cell phone. We're yellow friends. Yep. In first.
Ross.
Oh, you won?
Oh, what do you want?
Apparently I love red. Red? I like yellow more. Huh?
Every time I've gotten COVID, I've gotten very sick. And I'm usually I just usually feel really, really bad for like 24 hours. So it's like not that bad. It's just like literally you're out of the count for one day. But
I got sick for a while, and then when I came back, my heart rate was like I would go like walk somewhere, and my heart rate would be like 140. Like when I first came back, I was like, I practiced by myself and we're like 5 minutes.
well, they say it's like the COVID stuff. You look die.
It is, and we're like young and we'll recover, but it is.
It's still like it's like
Yeah.
it hurts like your chest, and that's scary.
Yeah, you just I felt like I had COVID for a while, and then when I was like,
Does Ross have a better turn than he typically likes? This is a really important question, I guess.
Ross, outside.
Take yellow. Yeah. I got bad practice. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the 80.
tried to get it.
Sorry for seeing that.
Here's Duke Dust. That was the first edition of like, I was like, it's all there. And then all of a sudden, I like literally was sweeping at one point and then didn't because I thought about it. No, that was the first. I like literally, I was sweeping and I came up and I went like, damn, I'm all there. And then we went back down. Like I was
In with.
Two of them leave very quickly, though, from second Sidney Mullaney. We missed the stones from the leads for the teams, Anna O'Hara and Katie Rhyme, for their respective squads. Now Libby Brundage, the second for Team Rhyme, will be throwing next. Trying to hit just to sit 2 counters. Team Strauss does have hammer by virtue of the last shot draw before the game. For Team Strauss this season ranked number 20 in the world, number 23 year to date. Team Rhyme number 92 world ranking, 98 year to date. Strauss has their spot at the national championships, I believe, already.
Is there anyone here still trying to get a spot in nationals?
Yeah, I think there's a spot up for grabs for highest points team from the qualifier events. We're not going to try to figure out exactly how that works so we don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
But I
No.
believe there is a spot available for the top points teams after this week. Qualifier, we know Team Benson qualified from St. Paul, winning the St. Paul Cash Spiel already.
Bunch of Duluth natives there.
I always like seeing that.
Sure do.
After the rollout by Brundage, the open hit and stick by Mullaney, and all of a sudden, Jackson, we're down to 1 rock in the house.
Happens
So-
quick.
So yeah, we come in and then the rocks just disappear. The end's no longer interesting.
Must be the effect we have.
That's what we do, folks. We'll be finding time now, filling time. Kate Flannery, the third for Team Rhyme, playing the out-turn hit on the outside of the sheet. Jackson, we saw this morning's draw. Ice was running fairly straight on most of the sheets all the way across. It's picked up curl as the day has gone on. The players are happy with the conditions right now. Things probably a little more difficult for shot making early on, but this is the ice that they like seeing, where you can get a little bit more curl. The ability to make shots is a lot higher when you get that curl in the ice too.
Yeah, absolutely. And huge testament to the ice crew here at Duluth to get the ice to where the players want it. Working hard, late nights, early mornings.
Yeah, especially with the scraper. For those of you that are familiar with the term, it was broken as of 2 nights ago. Crew had to work hard to get conditions ready for this World Tour event, so hats off to Jason Krause and Keith Stauber and the crew.
Yeah, there might have been somebody that stayed overnight here, from the rumors I heard.
Yeah, hopefully they had the key to the bar upstairs for the overnight too.
Well, I'm sure. It's tough to work that late without a bar open.
I know that people in this booth would not do that.
Who are you talking about?
I think everybody knows what we're talking about. There's the draw here from Flannery going to the back of the 8-foot, back to 4-foot. So third for Team Strauss. New to the team this season, Sarah Anderson. The twins split her and her sister Taylor onto different squads for the rest of this Olympic quad.
Yeah, wonder when the last time they weren't playing on the same team was, mixed doubles.
Very used to playing with each other, obviously. This one looking hard on Sarah. Sweet to hold the line. It does go off the rings.
Main job accomplished, at least. Obviously would have liked to stick around there.
And we've seen in the center of the sheet especially, the curl is significantly higher. The breaking point is kind of right around the middle of the 8-foot for where you see rocks really start to turn. So if you get to that middle 8 or edge of 8, rocks are running fairly straight, but the closer you get to the center line, the curl is starting earlier, and Sarah got caught on one of those paths there as that rock over curled and rolled out.
Yeah, definitely noticed that last night playing in league, but this is a little bit higher caliber. It may have been my throw, to be honest.
There's always something else to blame. You know that. So there's a million different excuses we can come up with.
It was perfect weight, perfect line, and somehow missed.
Usually it's the skip, the broom.
Or the third if the skip's throwing.
No, which team is which color and which team is
Yeah, just ended up pretty clean here. I don't know, is this just a blank to start out the game, does it look like?
It's highly likely. That's what Delaney will be playing for. She may try to roll in front of that red stone that's just out of the house in the back, so there's a possible jam. But main objective here is to secure the blank as well. So first stone of the game for the two-time junior national champion. Took bronze in the 23 World University Games, bronze in the 22 World Junior Championships.
Sounds like a pretty good career so far.
Hit and stick made by Delaney. And yeah, Jackson, it's been one of those things where it can be a tough adjustment for a young team when they skip steps in the development program. So you would have expected them to take some smaller steps to get to that highest level of women's curling, you know, playing in the National Women's Final, playing in slams. But it really went from one year to the next that they're already in that position. So the key is once you get to that point, how do you maintain it and how do you continue to grow as a team when you're getting that top level experience and you've skipped those developmental steps?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely made a jump. It's a young team. Nice to get some veteran experience from Sarah on there at third as well, for sure.
Final stone of the end for Kim Ryan. Good clean first end here for Strauss after a couple of miscues early. Never really any danger, but chasing some stones in the back of the house.
Yeah, the second didn't look like a blank was coming out of it. Definitely cleaned it up, and just a nice hit for blank here to start out the game.
Delaney's final stone, first end. Playing the outturned blank, a little tight out of hand. Sweepers are on this one right away. Will stick around for the single, so that's your miss if you're going to have one, is to take the point and not flash, but it will be a force of one.
Definitely,
Team Strauss takes their single.
definitely better than missing, that's for sure. Not the result that they were hoping for, but
I got to get used to now with no commercials that we're showing or taking breaks that I was ready to throw it to the break and kill the mics for a minute, but I guess we just talk straight through it, try to be more entertaining.
well, you can talk, or we might cut the mics once or twice, but
Do whatever we want. we have a one-man production crew and a two-man booth. So, Jax, you've been playing leagues throughout the season. We'll talk a little bit about the Duluth ice and what we've seen so far. Generally, I've heard from the players that, for the local players, that they've been getting curl edge 8 to the button throughout the season, which for Duluth is a pretty significant amount of curl.
yeah, it started out the season pretty fast ice, but pretty straight, and then a couple scrapes on the rocks, and getting a good curl now. Last night we were playing, just inside edge 8 or edge 8, depending on who's throwing. So it's definitely coming along and able to make a lot of shots that you want to make.
Lead on O'Hara. The southpaw throwing the out turn, laying to the guard, and trying to throw it on the center line to that no-tick zone. First 5 shots of the end. Rocks that are thrown touching the center line in the guard area, in the free guard zone. Cannot be removed from the center line.
You know, obviously the 5 rock rule has been in place for a few years, but how much does the no-tick rule change the game?
Well, it definitely changes the later end significantly. When you're seeing those tick shots played, and when we're referring to the tick shot, it's trying to move a center guard off to the side. So with free guard zone, you can't remove any guards from play in the first 5 shots. But with the no tick, now we're saying you can't move them off the center as well. With that tick shot, with Leeds getting so proficient with that shot as a defensive play, it tended to make the later ends kind of boring, because once they were that good at just moving the stone to the side without removing it from play, there's not much for teams to do to try to steal. So it affects the game more the later it goes. But for teams that are trying to rally, it's really changed how you're able to attack. And for teams that are trying to play defense against it, you have to play more aggressive because you can't move the guard off. So you see more teams trying to draw underneath center guards with hammer and beat their opponent in, because you're not able to move those stones. So it's definitely brought more offense into play. So you combine the 5 rock free guard zone rule with the no tick, and that was kind of a necessary thing to do.
Yeah, it definitely puts a lot of pressure on that lead thrower to make sure that it's touching that center line, if that's what it's called. Or if that's what is called, rather.
That come around draw from Katie Rhyme goes right to the back line. So good chance for Team Strauss to take position underneath the center guard. Just gets to a biter top 4, so good shot from O'Hara. And this tournament too, Jackson, it's pretty much the last event besides the Slam in mid-January, which very few teams are able to qualify for, and the tour event in Arizona that teams like going down for a little golf trip. There really aren't too many reps you can get in before nationals at this point. You know, the USA Curling Nationals are a little over a month away, but this is, for most teams, the last prep tournament that they'll get besides training weekends in order to get themselves ready for nationals. So as much as you'd like to enjoy the tournament, the holiday season, it's really important that you get as many good reps in as you can to try to get yourself ready for nationals. And you see the no-tick zone rule applied there is that one wrecks the guard, pushed it off the center, so it goes back in play. Now Delaney has the option of whether she wanted to leave it or take that rock out of play. So they're going to take the rock out. But you see the team was talking about that there too, where that was a rule that was changed after the first year of having no tick, where the teams wanted to have the choice because sometimes they prefer the result of the shot. So that was the discussion there for Delaney.
Can definitely help you out if your rock's just off center, or it might put it to a better guard than what it was. I mean, it's nice to definitely have the choice there.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why you might want the result that happens as opposed to having to remove the stone from play. And one is just like you said, if it barely moves it off the center but the shooter stays too, now you have another guard. So that might be a preferable spot. But going back to the prep for nationals, this is the most difficult time for teams to try to get good reps in before you're playing in the most important tournament of the year. Everything that they've done to this point is to get ready for nationals, so you're really trying to get as much as possible out of these games, as it may be your last chance for competitive games before you get to national championship.
Yeah, and with nationals being in Duluth, I mean, obviously USA Curling is going to bring in their ice makers, but a good amount of ice makers from Duluth are going to be helping out doing that ice. How much does that affect the preparation in this scenario to kind of get used to how the ice is made a little bit? Does that change anything?
It may be a little bit. The the ice crew that USA Curling will bring in for nationals will still be mostly their crew, and the Duluth guys will be helping. But Sean Olison will be coming in, I'm sure, as the top ice guy, and he runs his ice a very structured way. So I don't think that what you see here is going to be real similar conditions. If it was here in the club too, it would make a difference, but it'll be down the hall at the arena.
I've been lucky enough to play on a couple events that Sean was the head ice maker in it. It's way different ice for sure than I've ever played, and when he's measuring the shavings that he takes off when he nips, it gets pretty serious.
So the jam on that rock in the back of the 12-foot, these biters do come into play. Now for a second, Sydney Mulaney playing the intern hit. You can see probably 3/4 of this stone. And Jackson, this is a shot from the morning draw that was considerably tougher than it is right now because of the lack of curl. So you're getting a little more finish now, but it looked like Mulaney just overthrew that one a little bit. Probably a hair more weight than they were looking for. Didn't get much curl.
This morning to just have to be play it so tight to the guard that you can't make a mistake, or
yeah, you're throwing it to the sweeping because it was running as straight as it was. So if you have any kind of outward momentum on the release, it wasn't coming back. We saw a little of that there from Sid, as it was probably a little more weight than she wanted, but she popped it just a touch too. So it is curling more, but it's still very unforgiving. But this is good ice for rewarding good throws, where it is going to punish you if you pop it a little bit, or if you square it up, it is going to over curl. But it's good conditions for the shooters to be rewarded for a good clean release. It's not curling so much for a good clean release. It's not curling so much that the sweeping can turn rocks over and get them to finish, or you're getting saved by the amount of curl or anything like that. Like, you really have to be clean on the throw to get a good result. And for teams that feel like they're throwing the rock really good, that should be a positive.
Right. Shouldn't make a difference for them if they're releasing it well and hitting the target.
So that one wrecks the guard there again for Team Rhymes. Both teams struggling a little bit with that intern track coming down. So open hit to sit 2 here for Sarah Anderson for Team Strauss. Amount of difference in the curl too in the outside of the sheet. Once you get outside edge 8s, it's really running straight out there, and that one rolls off the paint.
So do you just basically ignore this yellow in the back of the house for now and try to set something up for yourself here?
Yeah, for Team Rhyme, you have 2 corners now, so there's no danger. That rock in the back of the 12-foot doesn't come into play at all for trying to score 2 or more. So Kim is correctly ignoring that stone and trying to get under the corner. I'd probably be more tempted to go under my own stone here if I'm Kim. You're going to have more of the house closer to the center if you get underneath the yellow, but always good if you make a good one and your opponent's playing the run if they're running your stone to yours as opposed to their own.
Right.
And with this track, too, if you get behind the tee line going around this guard, then your opponent can chase and have a pretty good spot to freeze to, whereas if you went around your own and you went deep, the freeze really isn't taking away much of the scoring space in the house. And that's exactly what happens here with that going deep. So now Delaney will be able to either dig that out or freeze.
People are going to start thinking we're on a tape delay here, Tyler, if you keep calling the shots like this.
Well, they're still playing to dig it out, it looks like. I thought Delaney might play the freeze, but confident that they can get enough finish to dig this stone out. And this is a spot, too, hopefully I'm not a tape delay again, where if you get across the center, it tends to curl, so it looked like a tight stick to start with. And they're hammering this one early.
Not the whole way down.
Oh, really good hold on the sweep.
Oh, what a shot.
Got Really good sweep there from O'Hara. That was an aggressive broom from the start. But Jackson, that's really kind of what you have to do when, and again, we're getting more curl, but it's not a significant amount here. So you have to take aggressive brooms because you can hold the line on these conditions a lot more easily than you can get them to turn over. If you're waiting for rocks to curl or you're trying to get them to finish by sweeping with the curl, it's really not going to have near as much effect. So a good smart broom from Delaney, taking it tight to the guard, and wrecking the guard wouldn't be a bad result there either, as opposed to going by.
Right. It definitely seems like the miss there, but it's kind of twofold trust putting it in the thrower and in the sweeper to be able to hold it too.
Yep.
Just a great team shot there.
A lot of line this time here from Kate Flannery. They're going to try to finish and get as much behind the guard as they can. But they're just going to leave it open in the back of the force. So much easier shot this time around for Delaney.
Yeah, it looks like they're calling just a hit and flop on just above those two in the back of the house. And, if they don't make a perfect hit, it just wrecks on one of those and you're still sticking around for two. Sitting two.
Strauss would like to roll this, as you said, Jackson, away from that yellow guard. So you're not leaving a short hit and roll opportunity to try to get a cheap two on the last two stones.
Right down the center line, it doesn't look like a lot of broom. Must be trusting that it's not moving a whole lot.
And she gave a little bit of a pop on the release, a positive release. Anderson calling sweep, trying to hold it to roll away from the guard. It's just going to be on the nose, so will be a hit and roll opportunity for Kim Ryan to try to set up Skip's deuce, scoring two with your last two shots. So Kim has taken broom few inches off of the center line to a wide side. So it'll be interesting to see if this one takes a turn early or not. It's not going to get to the center line immediately.
Playing a lighter weight hit to try to roll under that yellow.
I would think with that broom, she's probably throwing board somewhere in there. Barrier for our Scottish friends, because I'm sure a lot of them are watching right now too. And bumper for our Canadian friends. I know there's some of them watching. So this is starting to turn. Looks like closer to control weight. And rolls a little too far. It's actually got off that at the end and over curled.
Just peeking out there and definitely a hit and. Now do you try to do the opposite, hit and roll under your own here?
Yeah, Delaney definitely wants to now. Now that it's final stones, they don't have to worry about leaving a freeze or anything like that. So she would love to roll the buried underneath her own. Even nose is not a bad shot here, though, because you're making Rhyme decide between hitting on a straight line against three or drawing against three. But if you can roll it in and cut the house down, then you're forcing them into drawing to a much smaller scoring space. So if they can roll it to perfectly buried behind that yellow guard, that's ideal. Nose would be your second best.
Yeah, second end, you don't quite have draw rate weight down either, so it's never a bad thing to force that.
Ends up nose, so that's not bad. Rhyme will play the in-turn draw against three. Taking broom just outside edge of 8. Kim's rocks curl pretty good, too. She tends to get a little more curl than the average curler, I would say. I did the same. That's not a knock in the least bit. I walked them down.
and what's causing that? I mean,
a little softer release, a little less rotation.
Yeah.
And on straighter ice, too, I mean, there's a reason why we threw that few rotations growing up, probably, is we're playing on straighter ice here in Duluth for our entire lives. So that's just the normal throw for you.
I mean, I'm happy if I get 3 rotations. Kind of puts me in a pickle. If I go play somewhere else, that curls a lot more.
So final stone of the second end. Kim Rhyme just looking to get full 8-foot for her single. Sweeper's just cleaning for most of the way. Now sweeping the rest of the way. Getting into that slide path that we've seen rocks really die on, but no problem at all. Ryan gets the single right to the button. Is that Pope's face on the button there? Steve Fayette?
I think it is, and the picture right above the house inside the hog line is
that
an
one,
old picture of Steve Payette.
That one I know is Steve, probably around when he became the Pope.
Yeah, a little bit of a retirement celebration for him. So congratulations, Pope.
Yeah, somebody that's... Whenever there's an event going on around the Duluth Curling Club, if there's any print up anywhere, programs, team names, things like that, then Steve and Barb were involved all the time, but also did a lot of other small things behind the scenes to help these events run. And we pass along our congratulations here in the booth to Pope on his retirement. And if he could grow that hair out like he's got in that picture on the ice, oh baby, that would be something.
I think I'm in the same boat as Pope, wishing we could.
I can tell you I have zero chance and never will. So we're 1-1 onto the third end. Katie Rhyme throwing her first stone, playing the out turn. One goes deep in corner guard now for Anna O'Hara, and all systems go here now, Jackson. We don't have anything to worry about in the house, and you can go on the attack. This is the ideal situation for a team with hammer trying to score more than one.
As a lead, it's definitely nice looking at an open house when you're throwing second. Nothing to really worry about. You don't have to worry about coming under a guard or anything. Just play it to the game plan.
Somebody's listening to Weird Al behind us. I don't think it's catching the mics, but it's Amish Paradise, isn't it?
It is.
I know my Weird Al. Almost feels like we need a soundtrack for the commentary with starting to jam to that in the background.
Might need to put some music on for us.
Need some Psy or something like that. For Team Strauss. This is what we like to see in the commentary booth too, where we get some rocks in play. I think they're just going underneath the other corner, so right into the rings. The second one here for O'Hara. Nice line going.
Probably a little deeper than they wanted, but still not a bad spot.
They definitely would have liked to be shot at the very least, but it's kind of an awkward situation for Rhyme, as they can't really guard number one and have a good setup to steal. But they throw the center guard, and then Strauss is able to hit and sit two. So they pretty much have to throw the guard on the rock biting the 8-foot right now.
Looks like it's running a little bit deeper. And a guard might bite top 12. A little tap on it, maybe.
Yeah, that's not a great spot there, although it'll be tough to lose both. Strauss is looking to just clear one and sit on top of the other.
I was never very good at geometry, but it doesn't look like it's easy to get both of those out.
No, you could do it, but your shooter's going to go out too.
Yeah.
And they're more concerned with the shooter staying in the house. Oop, can't forget my raffle ticket here. Put that in my pocket, 50-50. Trying to get this to curl up a little bit, and definitely don't want to push it under the corner. Doesn't quite get there. So sitting second and third for Strauss with hammer here. 1-1 game.
Getting those separated is pretty important there, isn't it, Ty?
Yeah, I think they would have been happy with staying right in front of the other red because it's an easy clear.
Yeah.
Now for Rhyme, every bit as important to roll. Because he knows and they'll be out of the house, and Strauss can hit and try to roll under the corner and sit two. So for Brundage, she'd really like to roll this across and get onto the paint if possible. That hangs out and pushes the red behind the corner, and it's tough to tell who shot.
Now, if you're Strauss, how do you play this? Do you assume that you're shot, or?
Well, she's got to know. If they're going to play something to that stone, then it means they're not sure. If they were sure they were count, they'd be splitting the house here almost assuredly. So I think Delaney thinks red is shot. So they're going to try to throw something in to give them a chance to get it out on their next shot. To make it really good, you can sit shot rock and be cornered on the red too. It's really precise.
I mean, from the camera angle, it looks like yellow, and you'll see here in a second.
It's
but
a really aggressive broom they took for this one too.
It's
A lot of weight here from Mulaney. Just love if it cut a piece of the red to move it, but it goes by, and well, now they're shot for sure.
yeah. Now it's definitely yellow.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many shots missed light going to the outside, starting on the center line.
Do you just stack it on top of that yellow here? Or?
Yeah, you don't really have much choice now. You don't like playing freezes underneath the corner guard when you don't have hammer, but with the way the rocks are set up, this is kind of a must for Team Rhyme, so I agree with the call. See if Flannery can get this one to stop short. You really don't want to be deep here. The line looks close. Sweepers like it. Maybe waited a little too long now. Is it going to over curl? Well, it is shot rock, but there's some separation. So maybe a chance for Strauss to dig that out and roll away.
I mean, from here, it looks like you hit what you see, you get rid of it. But looks like they're going for the outside red.
Yeah, I don't think they can see enough to play that. From the hack, I think Sarah's maybe got a third.
I'd say that shot rock, hitting what you can see, and rolling over to the other side, splitting the house, wouldn't be terrible, right?
Yeah, they could poke that far enough to sit two and roll away. Then you may be leaving the freeze back, but if your shooter stays in the back of the 4 foot, then you're shot, and I don't know if there's a double or not going back. So I don't think you have much choice but to chase that red stone. You just want to. You could even just tap it at like a foot and a half, stay above it, and not roll away. Because all you need to do is get half of this red stone out of the 8-foot in order to sit 2. So it's a matter of how you want to play it. It looks like they're going to play to try to chip it and roll away, as opposed to just tap and sit in front of the pile. With this broom, there's no way that would be enough to just play the tap.
And sitting 2, split house, going into thirds second isn't the worst place to be. I mean, I'm not the most strategic curler in the world, but correct me if I'm wrong there, Ty.
Yeah, if they can sit 2 on this and they don't leave a double or a roll right in front of their own stone, it's a good result. So this would be probably hack weight close to that.
Sweeping
really,
for curl early.
Really needs to curl
Hanging
to get
out
there. Trying to finish to get contact. It's getting close now. It does chip it through the hole. Will it sit for count? Not quite. So just a little too thin, but they are sitting at least 1, possibly 2.
Looks like Kim's just trying to replace that.
Yeah, she'd like to get this one closer to frozen, so there's no room to chip that through. So out-turn freeze attempt for Flannery. This one's on a little wider track.
It's a little hot.
Yeah, just overthrew this one, and that'll go straight through. So door wide open now for Strauss to try to put up a crooked number. Hey, Courtney Benson in the booth, taking over commentary. Welcome, Courtney. Congratulations.
For those of you who don't know, Courtney puts on this event and does a great job organizing everything, finding volunteers like Tyler to one coach and commentate.
It's a thankless position. Court's done an amazing job. Court, I think your team, this is unconfirmed, but I'm assuming, may be the only undefeated team on the World Curling Tour this season that's played in more than one event, counting the start of this one.
But we lost 1 game.
Did you lose one in St. Paul?
Yeah, so unfortunately it's not a fun stat.
That's not fun. You're not supposed to say that.
Way to ruin it.
I ruined it.
Who'd you lose to? Who slayed the dragon?
We lost to Kim Ryan.
Oh, right here, right in front of us.
Yep,
The juggernaut.
that's right.
Do you want to get on the mic and say a few things
Nope,
here?
I
or-
absolutely don't.
I bet she doesn't.
Some other things to attend to, but would you? Excellent, Tyler.
What?
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That yeah is for a beverage for those of you listening.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't care. What do I want?
What a surprise if you listened last year, you would know. That's what we do.
Okay, I like it.
All right, timeout here in the booth has ended. They didn't stop the game for us, unfortunately, but
No, I was late on my camera change here too, so
yeah, so that come around draw comes up short for Team Strauss. So a chance for Ryan to get out of this end again with a good draw. So Jackson, a little frustrating here, I think, for Strauss that they felt like if they can get that one into the top of the 8-foot, then it's probably looking like a multiple point end for him. And now a good chance for Ryan to maybe flip the script, playing the out-turn draw around.
well, Barry, you gotta
Carrying deep
calm down
again.
here.
Now we're gonna break the cardinal rule of broadcasting here. We're gonna talk about the tech and what's going on here because Elliot here is doing a great job. He's doing everything he needs to do. When the cameras aren't switching, it's because Jackson has decided he wants to do it, and he keeps forgetting. So Elliot has to fix it. So we don't want the blame to go where it's not supposed
We're
to.
working with what we got
You know what?
at the Duluth
You
Curling
didn't-
Club.
Tyler didn't get put with the brightest person in the world to be in the booth, but trying my hardest, I promise.
Those of us in glass houses don't throw stones, my friend, so don't worry. So that one does stop close to shot rock. Tough to tell who's number one, but Delaney's going to try to bump this and sit 2 or 3, depending on that back Yellowstone. So we're not sure who's shot. We're not sure who's third. Because if there's one thing that you've probably learned to this point, Jackson, from your many, many games in the booth here at the Duluth Cash, is the overhead always lies.
It's never... It's always very deceiving. It seems like watching you on TV and broadcasting, you're pretty accurate, though. You have a pretty
on
good
measurements,
judge.
yes.
You have a pretty good judge.
I have a pretty good record on measurements, but I don't usually try to tell you who's shot before that. Because the cameras for our feed here and the cameras for television broadcasts, it's no different. You can't tell from overheads which rock is shot when it's relatively close.
Yeah, it's it all depends on the angle, for sure.
Big one here for Delaney, trying to bump to sit 3. And this rock is really curling now that it got across center. Ladies are still holding it. Can they bump the red far enough?
Double doubles.
Just good enough, and they are sitting at least 2, maybe 3. Great service here from Spiel Chair Court. Appreciate my sister for what she just did.
Again, that's on me for the quick ad.
You know, there's something to be said for accountability too.
You know what?
I appreciate that.
My dad's one of the sponsors. I got to try to get his name out there at least and get the business out.
Yeah, for God's sake, I mean, you have some self-interest in this too.
A little bit.
You could get disowned. So outturn freeze attempt here for Rhyme. Big shot early in this game. Trying to avoid giving up a 3 or 4. And this has got a long ways to curl. Not slowing down either.
He's definitely not curling the same way that Delaney's just did.
Needs to die. If it bounces, could be a hit for a pile, and it looks like it will be. So Strauss sitting 1 as of now. This hit will be for a minimum of 3, possibly 4. Do you want to take a go at the call on who's 4th shot here, Jax?
Oh, I don't. I will if you pressure me, but
I have to have a try. I'm going to say...
I think it's red.
Yeah, I was going to say red too. Boy, that's close.
For those of you who didn't hear it, Tyler agreed with me.
For now.
We'll see what happens after this.
Oh, I'm going to go with red with you. Okay, I'm sticking with you.
All right, so Noah's hit for 3, potentially 4. Tyler and I have been. Tyler's never wrong, but I've been wrong once or twice before. So.
I had a run of like 8 in a row at the Nationals last year that I got right on measurements. Not just saying who was closer when they actually went to a measurement. So final shot, 3rd end. Delaney Strauss, open hit for a minimum of 3. That will be no problem for Delaney, so we'll see when they pull the rocks away.
Right on
if
the
it's
nose.
3 or 4. Out, so we're not going to find out right away, but it's at least a 3.
Team
Ryan really lagging on putting up their own score, too. They do have a point. Nados in the booth. Elliot's got that nailed. It is 1-1.
Trust the online scoreboard, not the physical one here.
So we're going to, here in the booth, we're going to say it's 4-1, but it is possible it's 5 for Team Strauss. And Jax, regardless of if it's 3 or 4 for Strauss here, it's really important for Team Rhyme with 5 ends to go in the game to not try to get it all back at once. You may be down 3 or you may be down 4, but if you can get a 2 and get yourself back in the game, then you feel like you're still in decent position because you have plenty of game left. Down 4, it's getting a little bit tougher, but you need a multiple point end here.
Yeah, I mean, got to learn from Corey and had him coach us a little bit last year, Corey Dropkin, and he always just said, be patient. The shots will come if you expect them, and I think that's what Rhyme has to do here is just, like you said, not try to be overzealous and get 3 or 4 in an end and be patient and take a couple ends to get there.
Elliot, do we have the live chat up too? I doubt anybody's actually in there, but if you're listening and you want to ask, oh, we do have one.
I don't know how
draw
long
with
ago
the
this was asked.
I don't know exactly what that means. Yeah, if anybody is on the chat and wants to put anything in for questions for the booth, for Jackson, obviously not for me, nobody cares.
If you search Courtney Benson on Facebook or Duluth Curling Club, I believe it's been posted there. It's a little grid. Got to find the letters and numbers to find it, but it is posted somewhere. We're talking about the draws with sheet numbers, as for those that aren't reading the chat like I am.
Score finally going up. We believe it's 3. It is. All right, Jackson and I 1 for 1 on the week. It's a big start for the boys here.
Just took a bunch of Elliot's money. He didn't think we were right.
I'm going to take a bunch of money winning this 50-50.
I'm
I
just
got the winner.
I'm just happy as a seller I get the other half.
Spinning around the other sheets just for some interesting scores over on sheet 5 after a tough loss in their first draw for Briar participant Trevor Bonneau from Thunder Bay. A 5 in the first, gave 3 back in the second, took 6 in the third. They lead 11-3 after 4 ends of play. Take the over, folks.
Now,
apparently Coach Hackner had a good meeting with the boys after that one. May have been a pitcher of some kind of water involved.
I wasn't quite confident in that score because I've seen some people put blanks up at the 1, 2, 3 spots, but
no, that's a 6.
Judging by the rock that just got rocketed through the house, I'm guessing it was a 5 and a 6. All right, we got a center guard and one in the back 4 here for Strauss. What's the best play here for Rhyme? Just come on top of it, right? Top button or on the button here?
Yeah, they have hammer. They don't want to get trapped, but if you're throwing and following down here, you kind of want this top side of button. If you go back to a freeze, Delaney's following again.
It definitely looks like there's room for 2 on top of it, so. I like top button or right on it. Going hard to get by on the sweep. Looks like it's going to take off the guard, split it up a little bit.
So earlier we joked a little bit, Jackson, about calling barrier for anybody from Scotland watching because we thought it was funny. There is somebody watching in Scotland right now. James Craik, you wanted a shout out too, of Scottish Championship fame, and you've seen him on the slams this year. Thanks for watching, James, with whoever else you got out there watching the games too. We'll try to keep it entertaining for you. It's got to be, let's see, it's 6 o'clock here. So I think it's midnight over there in Scotland.
That's late. That's past my bedtime. I wouldn't. Who am I kidding? I'd still be watching. Sorry again for the camera.
I think they have a
Missed that
vested
shot.
interest in the game as well, too. But it's not just that they wanted to listen to us.
It's definitely not to listen to me.
Strauss sitting 2, but behind the tee line, and I like the call here from Flannery playing the tap because you want to get something out of that stone, but you need to open up that path too. So I'd love to tap this behind the center guard if they can. They can use the one back 4 for backing too. It is indeed 12:05 a.m. Perfect. So I've spent so much damn time overseas lately. I think I got the time zone set now too. I was just in Scotland last week, so there you go.
Well, that's cheating then.
Yeah, I better know from a week ago. I can't tell you about yesterday most of the time, but. So thanks for watching, James. Best of luck in the rest of the season. Playdowns, slams, all that. Maybe we'll get you in the booth at one of the slams to call a game.
Might be more people in Scotland watching than in the States.
I love that.
Hitting stick there from Mulaney. Still an opportunity for that tap, though, if Brundage is able to make it.
Oh, well, I told him to make a double for you.
No, it's good. I don't know that I agree with this one, Jax. I mean, you're playing a shot with a high degree of difficulty, even though you're rolling under 2 guards, and that red stone, even if you don't make the tap, you're still opening up that path. It's a tough way in.
What's the harder shot in curling, the dead freeze or a hit and roll perfect?
I don't really want to have to play either one. I mean, the longer the roll, the tougher it is to play. So, I mean, I think I would say the freeze is probably tougher because you're throwing it to one spot no matter what. We don't want to make Angus jealous. He wants a shout out too. He's watching Sid here. Thanks for watching, buddy. I mean, when you only get a couple of people asking for him, you can pretty much give everybody shout outs.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm never gonna not shout somebody out that asks for it on the air.
I'll start texting you during the slams then if you're calling that out.
You don't have to be in the slams to get a shout out, but it doesn't hurt.
What got me the other week was you were talking about.
For mixed doubles nationals.
So we gotta congratulate him then too.
I think so.
Gus qualified for mixed doubles nationals, so congratulations on that, Gus. I'm gonna call your game remotely in the middle of the night when you're playing there too, just so you know. I might just do it on my own FaceTime and put it on Facebook.
FaceTime live commentary.
Yeah.
The other week I was watching with our good friend Matt Mellon, and you were talking about how the Undertaker gif that got thrown out on the slam, and immediately he sent it to you, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, he was first in with that one for sure. Again, you text something in, you're going to get called out on it.
It should be expected at this point, I think.
It helps viewership, too. People want to be a part of the action. In turn, looks like maybe board weight attempt here. Flannery gets both of those yellows moving, and all of a sudden, Rhyme's sitting 3 after that really good shot there from Kate.
Yeah, the last few shots we went from yellow sitting 3 to red sitting 3. Changes up real quick.
You just keep enough hanging around in the house and getting something out of these shots. Eventually you get a chance to make them count. For Strauss, where the rocks are positioned really aren't great either.
What do you do here, Ty? If you were calling the game, what would you think?
I mean, she can play that double that she's looking at, trying to slash it over the top, but it's hard to get that thing going all the way across. Your shooter's going to roll out for sure.
Has to have a lot of weight to get that over the top and out, right?
Yeah, especially with how dead the striking bands are on the stones here, and the outside of the houses are pretty slow as well, so not something similar to the slams where they're just like rubber bouncing off each other. You have to hit these stones pretty hard to get it moving. So I think
looks like they might just be going for the
just
single.
hitting the back, which I think is the right shot. Got it going a little bit. Sweeper's holding it early. Yeah, good sweep there. They're trying to roll middle underneath their own, but just noses, so Ryan will have an open look at that number one counter.
With the ice the way it is, it definitely seems like, you may not be able to curl it a ton with sweeping, but you can definitely hold it straight, it seems like. I've seen a couple that look like minimum ice that are, hitting dead perfect at what they're calling on.
This one's all about where you leave the shooter. You're thinking about rolling center, but that leaves Strauss the out to play the freeze. I think you almost want to play nose on this and then let Strauss be the one to chase to try to roll underneath. This is hanging. Needs to get off the red stone, the top of the 8-foot. I think, is that a little redirect? Did that actually catch a piece or get by?
I think it got by clean, actually.
Ends up, that's tough to hit that in a spot where you roll out of count. You pulled it off.
Yeah, I honestly didn't see that possible from this angle, at least.
Gotta play soft to roll in. So this is maybe another barrier for our Scottish friends.
No Canadians have texted yet, so we're not going to keep calling that one in.
And we probably wouldn't shut them out anyways.
Well, I got half blood over here.
You're half?
I am.
Where's your half from?
My dad is from Thunder Bay.
Oh, okay. It's right up the road. They're practically Minnesotans, that's why.
Yeah.
Outturn hit. Delaney Strauss trying to get over the top, miss the jam, and roll in. Playing control. And dead sticks, the worst case, with the jams on their own. But you can't nose and get shots, I don't think, for Rhyme. So if you're already sitting 2, I think you're ignoring that yellow stone. I think you're just drawing right to the top of the 4-foot right now.
I was going to say draw under and split T right behind that guard. What do you do with your Strauss?
Yeah, these are the good teaching point shots too. You have to think about where's our opponent's out. How do they get out of this end? And getting under the center guard is their spot they're going to try to get to. So it's every bit as much about taking it away from them as it is playing it for yourself. So if you can get this to biting top 4 somewhere in there, and I think that's where Kim's calling for it, then that's the correct shot. So good on Kim ignoring the yellow stone on the top of the house and playing to the one spot that could actually hurt them if they left it for Delaney.
Yeah, these are the things that front end just doesn't think about, Tyler.
Well, if you're coaching too, like at a junior level or a growing team that's trying to figure out how to handle these situations. The number one thing that you want them thinking about in ends where you're trying to set up the big end is how does our opponent get out of it?
Yeah.
And if you can take that away, if you're securing the 2, great. They're down by 3, they're playing for 3. But where will our opponent be able to go that kills our end? And top 4 is that spot. So if you can get it to top 4 or biting top 4 yourself, then it's really kind of a tough spot for Strauss in deciding how to avoid giving up the 3 or 4.
And sometimes the game's just about beating them there, right? We
First in, yep.
We play a lot of 5 and under, and my first roll from lead is always to top 4. Just beat them there as soon as we can. Obviously a different game here. Play the guards, you're going to make the draw unders all the time, but
this is going to curl here. It's going to be close to the guard. There it goes. Yeah, just a little late on the sweep there. They thought that was going to stay on that path, but once you get close to that 4-foot line, it takes that hard turn, so you can kind of see that coming. And her weight was great, so really too bad for Kim if they over-curled there. And even worse, the back one is open to hit. They can roll in and get shot rock. So you can play a relatively stress-free shot on this back one. And worst case, is you're only giving up a 2 at worst.
Yeah, just inside nose rolls dead buried and shot at this point.
And then Ryan probably has to play the short run on her own yellow one in the top of the 12-foot for a 2. So big shot here for Delaney, trying to get out of giving up at least a 2-point end if she can get this roll.
She makes a shot, the most she can give up is 1, I think.
Well, they could still play the short run with the yellow.
Yeah.
Maybe still. I guess the shooter wouldn't outcount the other counter. Yeah, so they may be able to hold in the 1 period if they can get this roll in.
Looks a little hot.
Oh, it's still hanging. And it rolls out, so it will leave a draw for 2 for Strauss. Tough to get in, so they got to figure out what path they like. There's a tap on the red.
Looking at this overhead view, you can't see the guard in the top left.
Yeah.
So there is a guard
That is blocked off.
covering the left side if you're
Long
watching
view,
online.
You can see.
There we go.
So
now you can see that guard.
Yeah, so that'll block off that side of the house. So for Rhyme, I think the tap is probably the easiest way in for 2.
Just tap on that red, get it to bite 8 foot, and
So Jackson,
just over bite.
Are you going to be the sideline reporter at the 4th end break here to go out and talk to the players about how they felt about the first half?
I can. I don't think we have a wireless mic. I can just go out and gab with.
Yeah,
gab
just
with
talk
them
to
for
them.
a little bit.
just go out there and hold up a mic that doesn't work, and they'll think that they're getting interviewed.
Just hold up a cup.
You can do speakerphone.
Yeah, I'll put the speaker on here and I'll hold it up to the mic, and Jackson can call me from the ice. This is high-tech stuff here, folks.
Here's our tech guy chiming in, signing me up for more stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks,
that's
Elliot.
one we probably still wouldn't have been able to figure out without him, too.
Oh, we would have never gotten there.
It's a big shot here for Kim Ryan, trying to get a very important second point. Down 4-1 in the 4th. In-turn tap needs to get this to basically touching the 8 foot. A little more. Plenty of line right now. It's got tons of weight. Really needs to get up to chip that in. Will it move the yellow far enough to not give one? It does.
It looks like they still got their 2.
It is that too. I
Yeah.
don't believe that's what they were playing, and the smile on Kim's face, I think, confirms, but that may have been for 2 anyways.
I think I'm 2 for 2
Sure
here.
looks like it. I'm sticking with it.
Oh, Cameron
was,
might be
accidental.
Oh, there we go.
Hit for 2 instead. Kim's shaking her head, but still 2 on the board, no matter how you throw it. 4-3 game now after 4 ends of play.
All right, Ty, give me a call and go out there and start having those interviews.
I don't think we're going to bother him. But if it was Richie or somebody, I absolutely would send you out to do that. Or Derek. So one team, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much people that I'm good friends with, he would send me out to interview.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have any trouble harassing them.
I'd probably ask for a drink order at the same time.
That'd be a good idea. That'll get you your drink.
The green cards here are an amazing thing.
So that very important second point there for Team Rhyme. Exactly what we talked about, Jackson, that if you're down 3, you don't need to get it all back at once. You just need to really make sure at 2. So that big draw of Rhymes that wrecked the guard could have brought 4 into play if that was made. But they were able to secure the 2 and cut the lead now just to 1 point with 4 ends to play. So right back in the game.
Yeah, they didn't panic. They played a good end, and even after wrecking on that guard, they still just didn't panic and just played the end out and got their 2 and moved on.
That first guard, we can't even give them the 4th end break. It's faster after the mop because they didn't mop. But that one does go into the top of the 12 foot, so a little mistake there from Katie Rhyme. They're able to hit that stone as it's in the house.
I've heard you talk about that mid-game break and that mop a million times.
That's my running joke with Landsteiner that has been going for years since I retired.
You know,
I would tell him that when we played in tournaments that had a break, every single time coming out of it to annoy him, saying, Steiner, it's always faster after the break. I said, I know, Ty. And we do it every single game. So I didn't want to stop doing that after I was done playing. So every time I'm in the broadcast booth, I still tell Steiner it's faster at the break.
Well, the funny thing is it's carried over to our 5 and under team now. Where at Nationals last year, I'd throw a lead and they kept telling me, and it's going to be a little bit quicker. And I don't know if it's just in my head or if it actually is a little bit quicker for a couple throws, but
it tends to be.
It doesn't last.
Real thing.
It doesn't last long.
No,
it goes right back to normal pretty quick, but I definitely think it's a little quicker.
Yeah, no, it's been proven by results over the years. Nobody knows why that mop makes things faster, but I don't know why we don't just use the mop to sweep all the time if it makes it speed up that much, right?
I mean,
let's just make brooms out of the mop.
Seems a lot less effort out of the sweepers in front end. If
that
that's
might
the
get
case.
me out of retirement if I could just push that thing down the ice. Although,
push a big
whoa
mop.
and yup would be pretty tough.
You're definitely dumping if you lift that broom up.
It might be a little bit, yeah. Nice recovery shot there from Katie Rhyme on her second one. That hit and stick to stay out of the paint, so it's still in the free guard zone area. And the draw from O'Hara comes up well short. So a couple of staggered centers for Team Rhyme, and all of a sudden they have an opportunity to go in.
You get the straw under Tyler. How important is that to get it buried in between those two, and the next, like, top 4-ish, top button?
Yeah, you don't want it any deeper than top button. So you're still above the tee, but yeah, very important shot to give yourself a chance at stealing. Trying to get this buried above tee. And because the guards are staggered, it gives you a really good chance. There's no run back right now unless you slash the yellow over the top of the red. But a ton of room here for Brundage, so that one's not going to bury.
I don't think that curled more than 3 inches.
Yeah, if you get outside that edge of 8 path, it is extremely straight.
You had mentioned that earlier, but I didn't believe you until I just saw it myself.
Yeah, it will make the throw look a lot worse than it is because of how exaggerated the line is on the edge of the 8 compared to even like middle 8 or edge of 4.
Looks like we're just going to peel out here.
Trying to clear both guards if they can, but in the high one first and just ticks it over to the other side for Mulaney. So just a little positive on that throw, and in talking with the players so far about the conditions too, Jax, is you really have to play an aggressive broom at shots and believe the ice. Because if you're hoping for the rock to curl on this ice, you're probably not going to get what you want.
I will say, just for my job, I'm in sales, hope is never a strategy.
Where do you work, Jax?
When I work.
No, where?
When I work.
We're trying to give you a free pop.
The old
your
Abbott and
business there.
Costello. If anybody needs a scheduling software, give me
There
a
you
call. Company's called When I Work. I'm happy to talk to you. So,
Yeah, but where do you work?
when I work,
See, we're hammering
It
the
just-
name of the company home now. When I work.
I know nobody that I work with is watching this, but if you are, call it out in the next company meeting. I need this.
So there you go. That's what you get for coming in the booth. You get a free pop for your biz. Ellie, can you drop a graphic for him too, for his logo?
Sure can.
This one popped a little bit again here from Mulaney on the positive side. Is that going to come up enough to clear? It does go out, but yeah, just a little bit full on both of those throws.
So, still just trying to draw under here and get one buried, right?
Yeah, you're still playing hard steel at this point, down one without, and you have a good setup with the stagger too. So it's going to be a bit of a guess on the line because they're out into the 12 foot. I think this is probably a lot of broom for this shot based on what we've seen in the outside of the sheet. So she threw it a little bit to the inside of the broom. But we'll see if this one actually takes a turn. That's coming down hard off maybe the frost path out there.
Yeah, curling a lot different than it did that far up wide on the other side, for sure.
It's still by.
Get it to top 8.
Yeah, they would have liked to, on that path, it would have been great to get to the 4 foot, but still sitting 2.
Draw the other side, try to beat it here.
We did mention to anybody that texts in, even if they don't ask for shout-outs, we're going to give them too. But my friend Laura Schutz, now watching back from home, says she's dying listening to the broadcast. And I'm offended by that, Jax, because this is very serious.
It makes me think I'm doing a poor job.
We try to be professional in what we're doing, you know. We take our jobs very seriously with the $0 that we're paid to be in here. Although the beverage that Courtney brought down feels like a pretty sizable payment already.
Yeah, that's feels like a $12 drink for sure.
Is it bad when the ice melts really fast? Is that a sign that it was made with love?
And I will say the broadcast booth is not warm.
Getting there though. Really nice draw there from Sarah Anderson. Top of the 4 foot, half buried. Good position. And again, Jax, is so important, after your opponent just came up short to the top of the 12 foot, that you make that draw to the 4s now, and you've taken that position away from the team trying to steal. So not only are they trying to set up, maybe get a cheap 2, but really difficult for Team Rhyme now to try to set up a steal because of where that yellow rock is positioned.
Yeah, it's going to take you 1 or 2 to beat that position anyways, and even if you tap that yellow, you're still going to be, you're sitting wide open and can be taken out. Was that a dog? the other side of the wall there.
What that was. Something died. Freeze comes up a little short there for Flannery, but not a bad position. It's a good spot to leave that stone, very useful.
Yeah, that's one that Skip generally starts to play around because you leave it for yourself early on. Not very early on now, but
good time to have a chat here about how things are lined up. I like this from Sarah, and you mentioned at the beginning of the game, Jax, that I guess we got to call Sarah a veteran now.
Yeah.
But that influence, somebody that's been there and knows when to take that extra time and talk about these types of shots because, with how this is lined up, you really want to make sure that if you're going to play a hit on this stone that Flannery just threw, exactly where can we hit this and still be safe? Where can we leave this and not leave them something else? And they're playing to not jam, but is there a bad place to roll in off of this stone? Are we going to push them in? Very hard for Sarah to tell from this end.
Mm-hmm.
So really smart from her to go down and take a look at that.
yeah, it's crazy that Sarah's a veteran. She's not much older than
Oh, she's really
anybody.
old. She's been around forever.
But when you look at USA Curling, a lot of the teams are very young. Your former Skip team, Schuster, is
Not young.
not old, but I would say the oldest in the program.
Well, we kind of were the entire time when I was still playing too. So that one clicks on the higher center first. I don't know if they were trying to move both guards, but I think that over curled, so now pushes the red into the house as well.
Looks like
So all of a sudden, open hit to sit five
Yeah.
for Team Rhyme.
talking about being patient and the ends will come. I mean, they score their two, but now all of a sudden you make the shot, you sit five.
Yeah,
to
and
try
one
to
of the-
steal. You're looking at a pretty good spot.
And the key, too, with this end is they didn't always execute perfectly with what they were doing, but they left everything above the tee. They're leaving rocks that they can use later in the end. So even that freeze that they played didn't have to be made perfectly. They left that in the top of the 12-foot, and you're forcing Strauss to hit that rock because they can't leave it there. And they really couldn't guard either. So you're making them play a dangerous shot and create this situation for you. So now for Rhyme, big shot. If they can hit and flop in a little bit, it could get Strauss in some trouble. He needs to finish. You don't want to leave a pocket here, though. Man, that's staggered a little bit, but I would have loved to get to at least nose, if not roll in on that shot.
I mean, from our angle here in the booth, it doesn't really look like you can get to that pocket, but
Yeah, it's a little tighter to the guard, I guess, than what it looked like originally, so maybe not a bad spot.
looks like they're still going for it.
Yeah, really tight broom here. Now, this isn't one where if you hit and rolled in a couple inches, that wouldn't be a bad spot at all.
Kind of sit on top of that a
Yeah,
little
just
bit.
leave it cornered on it, and you're out of trouble then.
Yeah.
So for Delaney, yeah, if you hit this, she's playing for the double. I think she probably should just play to hit this just off nose and roll a little bit. But she may end up with that result anyways. But there's an in-between spot where if it overcurled just a hair here, that ends up pretty good.
Again, we are not on a tape delay here. Tyler just knows his curling, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good shot there. You would have liked to roll it a little bit less so that you have more of the stone to see. So that was the issue, with that shot with Delaney, is she was playing for the double, but there's an in-between spot between the double and the roll where you can't really use the yellow stone, and she may have rolled just a little too far. It's close to being able to play that maybe with hack to clear the red, but if it rolls a little bit less so you could see half, there's really nothing they could do with it. they probably have to guard and make Strauss draw for 1. Now they still may have to guard anyways. I don't know. You could draw open side back 4 and make them look at 2.
Make the draw a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I mean, if you could throw an absolute hummer, you could play off the winger and try to clear the yellow, but I don't know that I would try that just because of how dead the striking bands are, too. And we're talking about that red biter that's in the top of the 12-foot coming off of that into the yellow, but it's so flat, and with how dead the rocks and the houses are right now, may not even be there. So I think they're just going to throw the out-turn draw. Not sure how deep they're trying to go here. If they're just throwing it to take away the draw path, or if they're playing for shot rock. Can't mute both mics to take away the sneeze, but I don't think we care that much.
You're too quick on the draw on that sneeze.
Oh, that one came fast too. Whoa. Yeah, not exactly sure how deep Kim wants this, if she's just throwing it to a guard or if she's trying to get another counter.
Yeah, I didn't really see that in where the broom was getting set down. So
Well, with where the broom is, it looks like she's throwing a guard to take away the draw path. So I think that would be too much broom to try to come in. But we'll see where this ends up. Yeah, they're just trying to throw it to top 8, looks like. I would prefer, if I'm Ryan, to leave this short of the rings on this path, probably. Alright, so that just stops in the top 12, so I think there's still a shot for 2 for Strauss coming between the red and the yellow here. And that's where she's putting the broom down for. Now this, Jax, this is the tricky path where you're thinking it's going to run straight because of how you've seen the other ones run towards the edge of 8, but once you get close to the center line, it'll turn over. So, and you really can't play more than hack to try to get 2.
yeah, and I mean, if you're dead drawing it,
Boy, that's
you
a
gotta
tight
play. You gotta play wide enough out where it gets in that other path that's been running straight on that
So
right side.
They're really taking tight broom here on the center line.
Looks like they're going for the, I don't know, board weight.
And with that broom, they might be playing weight and just trying to play for 1. Like, just pick the yellow into the red, but, I mean, it just doesn't look like near enough broom to play something soft enough to stick around for 2.
I was saying earlier, you can sweep it for straight. That would be a really big sweep.
Yeah, if she can make this with... Yeah, she definitely threw it to the full side of the broom. It should turn right about here. There it goes. Is it going to get by? Yeah, just not quite enough. And they didn't sweep that most of the way down, too, so that was just, you know, exactly what we talked about, that it was going to take that turn because it got closer to the center line. Here's our sponsors once again. Jax, you want to read them off?
I'm good.
Broomfitters, good curling gear. Broomfitters has been supporting USA Curling and curling events around the country for many years now. We appreciate their support. Again, Volkswagen of Duluth. If you're looking for a vehicle, go see Volkswagen of Duluth. And Lake Superior Dental, if you're looking for teeth or to fix your own, go see Lake Superior Dental. See, if you don't write bylines for us, then you get whatever I throw out there on the spot.
It would have been Broomfitters, Volkswagen, and Lake Superior Dental for me.
Well, if you get hit in the teeth by a Broomfitter's broom while you're
Shopping
in
for
the
a car.
street, or if you get in an accident in a Volkswagen.
Sometimes you just leave the job to the pros.
Yeah, that's the pros right there. That's how we do it. We do appreciate Lake Superior Dental, Broom Fitters, and Volkswagen of Duluth for the support of the Duluth Cash Spiel this year. And And for anybody that works with those companies, front row VIP seats upstairs for the sponsors for the event. Although I have to warn you, if I'm sitting behind Courts games coaching, I'm going to be in one of those seats and I'm going to fight you for it.
Yeah, Ty takes a sponsorship seat.
Haven't been pulled out of it yet.
Nope.
That's a rough start there for the 6th inning. Katie Rhyme ends up hogging that one, and Jax, that might be a byproduct of going into the house the last end. Pulling the string pretty hard and ends up hogging. So we are all tied up playing the 6th after a big steal in the 6th end to played by Kim Ryan. Strauss going to the corner guard and playing it to the straighter side too, Jax, which I think if I'm coaching this team, which if I'm Mike Harris, I would be, but if I'm him, I'm also not here this weekend. Mike, if you're watching. If I don't get a text from Mike now, I'm going to be really upset because that means he's not watching. But I think if Mike was here, he would be talking to his team about playing to the side that curls a little bit more to get under the corner guard. And you can finish to get underneath on this side too, but it looks like playing to the opposite side is probably a little bit easier to bury.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get it under, more curl doesn't hurt.
Ryan now hoping to get a center guard up on the center line. Good one there from Katie Rhyme. So it's 2 ends in a row that Katie has had a frustrating miss on the first one, but comes back with a good shot on her second.
Lead rocks are tough sometimes. I struggle with it a lot.
Yeah, I don't throw them anymore, so I don't have to miss them. It's perfect.
I think the hardest shot to throw in curling is the one that you just threw.
The one you just made or missed?
just made even.
Come around here from Anna O'Hara. Trying to get under her own corner guard. No problem getting by. Can the sweepers get it to the paint? That just gets to top 12. Not a bad spot. Good pair from Anna. Around here for Libby Brundage. Good chance here for Team Rhyme to try to get Team Strauss chasing. This one really hanging again. A lot of rotation on this one from Brundage, staying on that 8-foot line. Similar to what we saw on the same path for Brundage in the previous end.
Yeah, the wall side just really seems to be running straight, coming towards the middle. Typically, out here, it does curl more going towards the wall, on sheet 8 especially. Must be a little unlevel, but local knowledge helps for sure.
Open hit and stick from Mulaney. Trying to keep it on the paint. Rolls to outside 8 foot. Good spot for that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do with this other than kind of hit and roll to the wing, right?
Yeah, if you can get close to nose, it's great. You don't really have much choice. Can't leave that rock there. Even if you play the out-turn draw through the hole on the other side, which is a really tough line, there's a short run in with this yellow stone. In-turn hit attempt. Can they hold it to get by? And again, same thing. The teams just continue to get fooled by the difference in line with the edge of the 8s and middle 8 in, as that one over curls too.
Gorgeous dot. Yeah, it's a hard line to call. I mean, it's been running straight the whole time. Then all of a sudden you play an aggressive line and it doesn't. It goes more.
If that rock was 6 inches farther towards the outside of the sheet, you would have no trouble with that over curling too. So you just really have to pay attention to how much different these tracks are running. A good time to talk about this one now again for Team Strauss too. This is all about where's the exact spot we want this. We know we're playing the draw. But we want to leave this in a spot we can use.
I mean, top 12 seems ideal, right? Full top 12, maybe biting top 8, but
Yeah,
top 12 is open and
You
can still
really
use
don't
it.
want to bury here, you're right. Yeah, so you want this at least edge to edge on the guard, but you want it to be usable. This is tracking a little deep. You do not want to be side by side. Yeah, so I guess that's not terrible, because even if you make the double, it's wide open. So you're playing for 2 with the way this is set up, and 2 probably wins you the game percentage-wise. So that's a big thing you take into account here, Jack. Some more curling 101 stuff is you'd like to get 3 or more, but if you get 2 with hammer here, your percentages of winning the game are significantly higher than if you get 1. So you're really trying to make sure of the 2. Even if you leave this open double, you should have an open hit where you can either roll to the wing or roll in and set up your 2. So you're playing for the next couple shots ahead too.
I mean, even if you don't get 2, if you get 1 in the 6th and scoring in the 6th, how important is that?
It's fairly important. I mean, we always felt like scoring in 6 was a huge deal. Now teams blank 6 if they have the choice, like if you're looking at the high level curling, if they get the choice between taking 1 or blanking, they're playing the blank. But if you can score 2, I mean, that's a monumental difference in your results for the end of the game compared to those other 2 results. So for Strauss in this situation, you really want to make sure a 2 no matter what. Even if you're giving up a decent chance at getting 3, you never want to bring the force or the steel into play. It's a big shot here for and this could be a little trouble now for Kim. For Delaney, you could either roll in or you could play the nose.
I mean, nose, you sit 3, it's open, but they can't really do anything with it other than take it out. have you sit in one. And
Yeah,
so,
you're thinking in terms of if we roll in, it brings 3 or 4 into play. But if it staggers weird and they make a really good draw around it, even though it's a tough one, that's their out.
mm-hmm.
If you nose this, I don't see any way you don't score 2. Because in order to make the double for Rhyme, she's going to have to roll wide. So it's either going to leave you an open hit for 2 or an open draw for 2. So as tempted as you may be to try to roll in here and end the game, I think the smart play is, yeah, they're looking to roll away even. I'm a little worried about the roll away just because you could bring the roll back underneath into play, which is actually easier than the draw around a berry.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got a pile of stones you can roll underneath, so I don't like the roll away here.
Pretty wide range of rocks. You know,
Yeah.
3 feet that you can roll under.
Yeah, I mean you're probably scoring 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
if you make the shot, probably. But that's not the most important thing in this spot. Securing the 2 is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So you're leaving them a difficult shot if you roll away, but it's the shot that could kill your end.
You were talking earlier about taking away their out.
Yeah.
If they roll out and have that roll under, that's Rhyme's out,
You know,
right?
this is not rolling away, so that's not going to be an issue. This is going to get by the guard. Yeah, again, the difference in tracks, just getting close to the edge of the 4-foot over curls, and I mean, we hate to beat on a dead horse here, but it's the same misses each time with thinking that it's going to run the same on the edge of 4 that it is middle 8 or edge of 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sheet 8's historically been tricky, I think, out here. At least since I've been out here, but
I like sheet 8, honestly.
a couple of years ago during COVID, when basically everything was shut down, sheet 7 and 8 were reserved for USA curling. That was the practice sheets.
Yep.
Got treated a little bit differently than the rest of them, but the rest of the ice was still good. It was just we wanted to have the ice time for, the Schusters and the Plyses and Landsteiners of the world, and on the women's side, Corey TC, but has kind of a weird fall to the wall sometimes.
Yeah, the edge of 8 track is the difficult track here on the wall side. When we say wall side, we're talking the side that's closest to the edge of the ice as a whole. So where the walls are.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. Not the barrier side or anything like that. So in-turn hit attempt here for Kim Rhymes. That rock was opened up by that wreck by Strauss. Just rolls to cornered on their own.
I mean, is it hit in the middle of them? You get both and hit your 2, or do you think it runs?
I don't think you can do that because your shooter might come back up off. You might be able to smoke it 3/4 on the low side and have the second stone shoot out the side. The problem is, again, the striking bands being dead. If this shot was lined up in the Grand Slams with the live striking bands they have, you're putting the broom down and you're hitting 3/4 and that second rock is flying out the side and you're getting 2. But because this is going to drag a little and the bands are dead, it's going to be tough to get that second rock out. I think you still have to play it. There isn't really a good path in even for your 1 anyways. Like, you're not going to risk giving up a steal of 2 going wide and trying to make the draw on that straight line on the edge of 8. So Delaney has to throw a missile here.
Gotta have some heat.
Yep, and it's got to be enough to try to get That second one moving sideways, but still have the shooter stay. Oh, this has got a curl. It jumped it early on the sweep again. And it redirects off the guard. Will it push it far enough to not give up 2? Will not. So that one jumped right out of Delaney's hand by Anderson. And that ends up being a steal of 2, where it looked like, Jax, we were talking basically 3/4 of that end about Strauss just playing it safe to make sure of getting 2. So that end went absolutely haywire for Delaney. The last couple shots.
Comes at you fast.
It's a frustrating sport.
Ends can just change so quick, and all it takes is one even just partial miss on a shot. You know, you throw a 3.5 instead of a 4, and all of a sudden you're staring 2 in the face.
So we were kind of prophetic again, Jax, with early in the game saying you're down 3, just get your 2.
Yep.
Get yourself back into the game, and you got a lot of game left to play. Team Ryan follows that 2 up with a steal of 1, steal of 2. And they are now leading 6-4. Playing the 7th end. You know, Courtney came in and said, this is the team that beat us, the only one this year. It's the Juggernaut. So here we are. And now for Team Strauss, you have to change gears as you've been playing defense for the last 3 ends, and you got to go back into offense. I guess the last end you were still playing fairly aggressive, but now you really have to go on the attack. Try to find a 3 if you can here in the 7th.
So to be aggressive here, do you throw double corners or?
Yeah, you're almost assuredly putting 2 up. It's just a matter of, are you throwing 2 stacked on one side, or are you throwing opposite side corners? And there's no right or wrong with that. It's just about preference for each team. With that one, kind of a mid guard, I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't throw a second corner on the opposite side.
About the same height, another 2 guard, or a little bit tighter on the other side?
Yeah, same height. You want them even up if you can, yeah. And that's a good depth if you're throwing opposite side corners, because it's easy to get around them, but not so high that you can dig them out with like hack weight. So
Right.
that's the perfect depth if you're looking to throw a corner on each side.
So just got to keep ignoring these ones in the rings at this point and
For now.
play your strategy. This is obviously being practiced by this team.
Yep.
To be in this situation where you got to score some points, get a lead going into the 8th, or ideally you want to score 3 and be up 1 going into the 8th rather than tied without, right, Ty?
Yeah, you're talking about percentages of winning the game, and tied up without as opposed to 1 up with. I mean, the percentages basically play out. It varies from team to team, but if you're just saying on tour, if you're 1 up without, you have about a 58% chance of winning, somewhere in there. If you're tied up without, that stat's kind of gone up and down because of no tick being introduced, but it's generally usually right around 20%. It's a little bit higher for the women's game than the men's for stealing. So I'd say you're probably closer to 25, maybe. But that's a huge difference again. I mean, being a small favorite to being a pretty significant underdog. So
Yeah.
So a lot of times in these situations, like when Rhyme threw their first rock in on their first shot, in the slams, we've seen teams hit that rock and play blank right from the start so that they can play to go down 2 with hammer
Okay.
in the last end, as opposed to having to try to get 3 this end.
So the odds are better to be down 2 with in the last than
tied
be
up without.
Tied up without.
That's what teams feel right now with 5 rock. Where we're talking free guard zone.
Yeah, that's a big swing and huge change in strategy when you're calling the game for sure. Right, it looks like they're playing a hit on this top 12 red rock and trying to roll under from Sidney Mullaney here.
Nice shot there from Sid, dead buried. Just tapping that stone back. Now, you don't need to try to score with the stones right now. You're just trying to leave as much shrapnel around as you can. Make those rocks count later. So as you still have 5 shots left to throw, you're fine with your opponent sitting 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to kill there. So that's a smart shot from Delaney. The hit and roll has a way higher likelihood of rolling out or not rolling to the spot you want to than the tap and roll. And those rocks in the house can actually help you. So if you can move those to a pocket, it's more things that you can use to try to set up a 3. So you're not solely counting on the guards. You're still trying to set up other ways that you can put rocks in spots they can't get out for the time being. I mean, it sounds simple, like we need to put rocks in the house in spots our opponent can't get them out.
Right.
And having a pocket is sometimes a better way than getting behind a guard, because it's going to take 2 shots to get rid of that rock. You can make a run on any 2 stones and clear.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a rock dead between 2 stones in a pocket, it's impossible to get it out of play in 1 shot. So you're making your opponent waste a rock just to get, and probably remove one of their own.
Yeah.
And that's the other good part of it is you're going to need to make both those red rocks go out to make that yellow stone count, right? That's already in the house. But if you can throw one in the pocket between the 2, now they're going to remove one for you just to be able to get that rock out.
Right.
So they're doing your job for you too.
Make them do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like they're playing the hit and
I think
hit
they're
and
just
roll on top again.
They're just
on that
playing
top
like
red.
tap and roll underneath,
tap and
which
roll,
I like a lot.
Just ends up nosing, which
Yeah, a little much on the weight, I think, again too.
So if you're Rhyme, do you try to roll under here or just hit and stick and make them play it again?
Yeah, if you can get underneath, you're taking that position away from your opponent again. So you have to avoid the jam first, but nose isn't bad, but you're leaving the roll back for your opponent, and this is going to roll out, so that's a bad result for Rhyme. Now this is a good time to chat here, I think, if you're Delaney and Sarah too. I would go down here if I'm Sarah and talk about this shot, because you need to see how deep that rock is and where you're rolling to, because she's yelling down to ask where is it rolling to. You see the hand signals.
Yeah.
I don't have to hear them to know what they're saying. Sarah's asking, if we play that roll, how deep is our rock going to be? And Delaney's saying back 8. So I think probably would have been better to take a little time to talk about what weight, why we're playing it, where we're trying to roll it to exactly, instead of hit roll.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't real precise with this conversation. Really close in the roll. A really good call there from Delaney. Good shot.
Great shot.
You don't always have to talk about it to make it anyways. Doesn't mean right or wrong.
No, sometimes the skip has a plan. You just stick to it and trust it.
No, that's a really good play. That's a great roll from Sarah. Now, I think if you're Cam, you have to run. Like you can make this draw to get out of trouble, but you don't have to. You have 3 rocks left. If you make the run with the red, even clearing just the top yellow,
you're in a pretty good spot.
You're in better shape, and worst case, you're opening it up, so
yeah,
the double is open, and your opponent almost has to guard. You play this draw, and you don't bury. Now you're bringing 3 and 4 into play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a coaching moment here, too, I think. Even though that guard is kind of high, you kind of have to play that run. This has really got a curl to finish still, too. And doesn't quite bury either, so...
Stays almost 100% open, especially from the hack. You have most of it.
Edge to edge.
Yeah.
It's a really tight broom again here from Delaney, though. This side will actually curl a little more. I would like to see a little more broom, a little less weight, because you don't have to clear this. You could tap it back, too.
Tap it back into the back 12 and roll a little bit if you can, but...
Yeah, I mean, this broom tells me they're trying to maybe roll away, but this just is a really tight broom right from the start.
Looks like it's on that guard.
Yeah, it's just nowhere near enough broom on that shot. And there's a difference between taking an aggressive broom and taking a broom that you actually can make the shot with, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that Sarah could ever make that shot with the broom they had. But it's also, they're calling a weight that makes that shot extremely difficult and takes your margin for error down to nothing. Because if you play back line on that shot, or even through the house is probably your ideal weight. Now, even if you don't catch it perfectly, you're still keeping 3 rocks in the house. You know, if you can control it a little more with sweeping too, you're just giving yourself way more options to try to keep 3 in play.
Mm-hmm.
But throwing the weight that she threw there, like you have to be so perfect to not jam on the back and to get by the rock in the top of the 12-foot. Whereas if you play back ring, let's say it over curls and you wreck your rock in the top of the 12s, all right, you split that one over, you rolled in for, you have second, third, and fourth count. And now they have to try to not leave you a double at least, so.
Not only that, now you open up your own rocks and they're going to,
yeah.
Looks like they're going to try to play the double and, they'll sit 2 if they make it. Rhyme will sit 2. And then you're battling and have to get really aggressive try to get. Do you give up do you just give up a steal of 1 in that case and try to get a big end?
I think you're still probably taking a point.
You take 1.
Yeah, going down 1 without, because otherwise you got to get 3 and steal anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't like either situation. Big shot here for Kim. She can make this double. She's out of trouble no matter what. And that's really close.
Got it.
Now, will it get off the paint?
Oh,
Just missed the sweep.
really close.
Yeah, just needed to sweep that a little bit. And again, those types of shots are so much more precise because of the striking bands here. But I probably would play a little more weight at that shot too. I mean, I know they were maybe playing it softer to try to roll to exactly where they did, because it's right in front of their own.
Mm-hmm.
So now Strauss has to play the double. So not a bad result at all. You're sitting 2. And 3 is, unless Delaney can throw this so hard that she gets action off contact, rolls under the corner, and makes the double, 3 is probably out of the picture. as strange as it sounds, I think the roll is almost more important here than making the double. If you can get both, great, but you really need to roll here. And this is crossing. Oh, that's just a killer. Rolls in front of their own stone under the corner. I don't think they're scoring more than one no matter what. And because of where those rocks are lined up, I think Kim can play really aggressive at playing for the steal now too.
So if you're Kim throwing the shot, trying to steal, where do you put it?
Well, there's only one really, really, really bad spot. And that would be just backside of T line or close to T that leaves the double to give 3. But other than that, I mean, you're throwing this to try to bury if you can. I mean, you can throw it to top 8 and make the draw really tough too. What she's looking at right now would be the shot I would play if you know the ice. The in-turn around the outside, because this is the safe shot. It's really difficult to leave them something that you could give 3 with.
Never gives up a double.
Now there's a little danger of if you leave this top 4, there's a straight back run. That could be crosshouse for the double. Yeah, I don't know now. I mean,
Do you think our rocks are active enough to be able to make that run crosshouse double?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's because you only need to move the second rock 2 feet.
That's true.
So this is a little dangerous, and it's a really, really high difficulty shot. But if you leave this top 4 underneath this guard, Delaney does possibly have a nose run crosshouse double for 3. If Kim doesn't throw this shot, like if she just threw it to the boards, the best Delaney could do is 1.
Right.
Like, where do you see the shot for 2 if she does that, except for maybe...
There's kind of a hole, but
I don't
think
think you could pick it anyways. I
you
mean,
ever
maybe you
pick
could.
it. Yeah.
But if this goes back 4, you're safe. All right, so now, there's no shot for anything more than 1. So
shot for 1.
So they played that smart. They made sure it was never going to be high enough they could make the run. Yeah, there's nothing for more than 1. So now it's a matter of, are we taking 1? Are we playing the hits? Are we peeling it out and giving 1 like you talked about, Jackson, going down 3 as opposed to down 1? I don't think you go down 3. I think you play for the steal or the steal at 2. So I think you're trying to take 1.
As they say in Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance.
There's always a chance. Always a chance.
I mean, if it's 25%, 28% being down 1 and trying to steal, can't be good being down 2 or 3.
Yeah, they're going to be up against it no matter what here. So last shot here, 7th end. Delaney Strauss trying to secure the single. Strauss 0-1 this week as well with a loss to Hagenbaugh in their first game. The young Charges with a big win to start their tournament.
It's really got to finish here to get the 1.
And will it curl enough for the single? Yeah, it looks to be 1 red, and it is. So Ryan with another steal. 3 ends in a row now for Kim. They lead 7-4 going to the 8th end. And there is still no commercial break, but we can bring our sponsors back onto the screen once again. Our crack staff here in the booth. Broomfitter's Good Curling Gear, thank you again for your support. Volkswagen of Duluth, go buy a car from these fine people. And Lake Superior Dental. If you get an accident on your way to Volkswagen in your substandard car that's not a Volkswagen, you mess up your teeth, go to Lake Superior Dental.
And maybe your broom's in the back and gets broken.
Oh, what a disaster. You shouldn't have been driving something other than a Volkswagen.
Just really have to go to the dark end of things, huh, Ty?
Mm-hmm. You're lucky we're not doing the 8 o'clock game, too. Have Courtney deliver another soda here in the booth and see how fun the ad reads get after that. So Team Rhyme, big rally here against Team Strauss, now leading 7-4 in the 8th inning in our feature matchup here at the Duluth Cache in Duluth, Minnesota, from the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center. Stone's throw from the harbor, no pun intended. And Jax, you talked a bunch about your 5 and under experience here, so you haven't been around the sport for a long amount of time, but it doesn't take long in the curling community, in any club, but we're very biased here in Duluth, to feel like this club is your home, you know, the place you come to hang out with your friends and have a beverage, watch the game. But you know, the curling world doesn't change, you know, from the 5 and under all the way up to the elite level of play.
Yeah, definitely lucky, and like you said, in the sense where I can come down here and I'm going to know 5, 10, 15 people and be able to have a conversation. And, you know, lucky with the people that I got to start curling with, like high caliber, very lucky in that sense to be able to learn from some of the best in the world, for sure.
And Derek.
And Derek, yeah. Derek, too, he helped a little bit, more so his wife, Courtney, Tyler's sister. Got lucky there. But, yeah, it's, you know, we all golfed together and curl in the winter. Got lucky. Good group here in Duluth, for sure.
Elliot, you concur there?
Yeah, very welcoming, very personable, very open. It's just quite the electric scene over here.
Well, if anybody ever goes against that, you let us know.
I'll let you know.
We'll toss them in the
personally.
harbor, so we don't need them. So.
That's good to know.
we're very inclusive, but we're defensive of our own.
We can be exclusive if we want to.
Oh, yeah. Give us a reason. So top 12 and through start the end off here for Katie Rhyme. Corner guard up for Anna O'Hara. And this is all defense mode, Jax, for Team Rhyme. So you saw them sweeping that stone at the end of that shot to go through. They'd rather, if it's going to be in the back of the house, that it's out of play completely.
Yeah, just don't want to give Strauss and the team any backing to be able to freeze to. And, you know, we were talking earlier about taking 2 shots to get it out. So if you freeze one to the back, it's typically end up coming to bite you in the end there.
So 2 corners up for Team Strauss. And important to remember, too, they've had some ends set up in this game. They already scored a 3. It was very close to being 4. Looked as though in the 6th end they were going to be set up for a 3 or 4. So Strauss knows that they can put ends together. Obviously, with your opponent playing all-out defense, that's very difficult to do, but we know they can play offense, this Strauss team. They put up a ton of points on tour consistently.
And if you're Rhyme, as soon as Yellow Rock touches paint, you're probably throwing a hit, huh?
If you can see it, yeah, you're clearing anything you can. So that tap goes to close to the corner guard. I don't think you like that very much if you're Rhyme. Now you're putting rocks in a position where they can be tapped behind the corner, and that's where the 3 or 4 comes from.
You know that much better than I do. You were talking earlier about going down, knowing how far to roll, how deep it is. The exact opposite. Put a broom down, tell me what way to throw, and I'll try my best to do that.
We do like good soldiers, though. Front-end players that say, you tell me what to do.
There's 3 S's as a lead.
Yep, we know what they are. And good shot there from Mulaney.
Really good.
And smart play here, Flannery calling for the peel. The guard is the rock that's going to hurt you more in this situation. You could try to get to nose or close to it to clear that yellow stone, but as long as that guard's not in play, you can clear that yellow just about any time.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to play the hit now, there's a good chance that you're going to jam on your own and you're going to lose your red. Shooter would probably stick, but the yellow will stick around too, right?
It's a little tight out of hand. Really curling. So it rolls to the opposite side. Kind of takes away that draw path a little bit. So a little fortunate there from Rhyme. There is still a draw through the hole, but that draw just got a lot tougher because of where that rock rolled to.
It really did. I would not be confident, but I'm not this high caliber.
Change gears, trying to get underneath the rock in the top of the 12-foot instead. You need to go deep with this one now. You can't leave them next to each other. It's deep enough that there probably isn't a double.
It's at least probably not appealing enough to try for it. She just signaled for it, though. Just looked at it.
She's talking peel. I really got to make sure one goes, regardless of what weight you're playing. The top one is the easier one to clear right now.
Just outside a nose should get it through the gap.
And you could chat about this one too. Another one where taking a look at the angles for the shooter isn't a bad thing. So once you're standing up for this long in the hack, it's probably a good idea to take a little more time. We really haven't seen Team Rhyme conference at all during this game, where they've come down to the other end and really take a look at the angles and talk about things. I think if you're going to do it, this is the time. So they are playing peel, just trying to shoot this through the hole. And everything the rest of the way now is just scoreboard for Kim. Just stay away from 3 no matter what. A little positive on the release here.
A little wide.
Needs to come up a little bit. And goes right by. It's their own. Things getting a little more interesting. The good thing for Rhyme is they took away the jam, so now the double is there.
Yeah, it's obviously not the shot you want, but it's not the worst in the world because it leaves the next one.
Move these around somewhere that doesn't leave the double now. I think that the shot she just called is a good shot. So, and now Sarah's going to come down and take a look. No, absolutely should. So because of how dead these striking bands are, that actually helps in this situation. If you were trying to play the bump on that rock in the top of the 8-foot and roll underneath, you can get a pretty good stagger. Now, Sarah's talking about guarding. I don't like the guard.
I mean, at this point, you want rocks in the house, but you also have to obviously have them in the right spots to be able to score. So are you saying the R left, Tyler?
Yeah, you because of
Little
how
bump
dead
in.
they're playing, I think you could hit that like half a rock like Delaney is signaling right now and still get the shooter rolling underneath. All you need is for the rock you're bumping to still stay in at least half of the 12-foot. So you could throw hack at that stone, hit half, and try to roll all the way underneath. Take that double away. Now they got to play the run instead. The only other option would be to play it the opposite way and try to chip the outside of that yellow rock underneath cover and roll to the wing and then roll in front of that red stone on the side. That might actually be a better shot. I like that they're doing something with that rock because you kind of have to move that to not leave the double. And I like that they're playing the in-turn because you're going to get better action kicking off of that stone underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to trust that that rock is going to stop and throw hack. And shooter tries to get underneath the red, too. So I like the call here from Delaney. And the other reason is that you're trying to bring 4 into play if you can, too.
Right. If you can win the game, win it.
50-50. Are all your tickets in the bucket already?
This is over curling already, though.
Important. Okay. That's all of them, right?
Yeah, that's all I sold.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So it just taps that rock to the back of the 4-foot, but now the double straight on for Team Rhyme. It really didn't play near enough weight on that shot.
Well, Ty, I will say, me calling this game hindered my 50-50 ticket sales. I got through over half, though.
I'm not sure if I'm happy with that or not.
I only did it for about 25 minutes, so pretty good.
Well, I don't know if I want more money to win or a higher probability of winning less money.
Well, a higher probability of winning money is better than a lower probability of winning money, right?
Oh, I don't know. We're talking more money, though. So
But less of a
Flannery
chance.
playing the double. Little positive release again. Oh, good sweep
Wow.
call there
Great
by
shot.
Rhyme. Does clear 2 and not a lot of way in now for Strauss. Trying to come around the wide side on these 2 corners. This is a complete guess out here, Jax.
Oh, it hasn't been played at all.
The speed and the broom. I think if I'm Delaney, boy, I guess there's not a whole lot of option to not leave something on that center one too. You could play the split on the center one. It's probably
That's
your
kind of
best
what I was
shot.
thinking coming.
Yeah.
The
So even
out-
if this is made, needs to hit the brakes.
Find the frost.
Will it stop for second counts? Don't think so.
I don't. It's too close for me to make a call.
I'm going red on this one.
I'll fade you. I'll take the yellow.
We'll probably never find out, but
Ty goes to the second guess, I think. So. I mean, what the only other alternative is playing the outturn split, trying to get your shooter under the red and then kick the other one over undercover. I don't see anything other than that drop.
yeah, I like playing this with normal. So you're making sure one goes no matter what, but if it overcurls and ticks the red, it might push it in for count still too. I mean, you're playing just to make the double anyways, but
Yeah, sorry, I was talking about Delaney's last throw.
oh, hers, yeah.
The,
Yeah,
the
if you
draw
play the
around
split.
or the split.
Yeah, the split was the right shot because you can get both under cover if you make it right. With this one, you're really hoping that they miss on the wide side. If they wreck the red, it's going to open up, worst case, a double for your last.
Mm-hmm.
So good aggressive broom here from Kim. This could be the game winner right here if Rhyme's able to make the double. Little positive, though. Oh, you do not want to miss this on the
Really
wide
hanging out
side.
there.
Well, it's going to get a piece. It shoots it over the top. So 3 back in the picture. I think if you're Strauss, you're probably playing the same shot you just threw.
That same draw around the outside.
Yeah. I mean, you can make it around the center one too, but and if you think red is shot, you could play the hit and roll.
I think they're on my side and think it's yellow.
I don't think it matters for this shot.
No?
I think you have to play this anyways.
Sarah went back and forth a few times. I don't think she could tell either for a while. Maybe she came to a decision, but like you said, at the end of the day, it might not matter who's shot. You got to play this one anyways. Got barn burner over on 2.
Yeah, Team Stapera with a 8-4 lead with hammer, playing the 7th inning, gave up a steal of 3, steal of 1. Now tied up, playing the extra. See if the young ones can hang on and get their single point, but
Looks like
big
really
draw
good
here.
weight
Good looking line,
Gotta
just has
go.
to get there for Delaney. Hitting the brakes. And that's 3rd count at worst. So for Rhyme, I mean, if you can throw a draw to the back of the 8-foot here, you're probably safe for the win.
Yeah. Pretty skinny double, no matter where that ends up if in the back house.
Yeah, you just want to angle it so it's always going into that back yellow.
Yep.
But you're throwing the draw or the tap. The draw is probably the smarter shot. You just can't leave the double. Yeah, you want to throw this deep. So back 8 probably is your ideal spot.
Are they looking at the draw behind that one top 12 and just get it biting top 8?
I mean, the draw is fine, but I mean, anything behind the tee line and the game is over, basically. Back 4, it's possible there's a redirect off the rock in the top of the 12-foot. That's on the edge of the 8.
They keep talking top 8, top 12.
I don't like top 8 because, I mean, if you're 6 inches deep, then you're leaving the double possibly for the tie off that rock in the top of the 12-foot. Deep, and I don't think it's there.
I mean, if you put it perfect where they had the broom down, what does Strauss do? But again, perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
Heavy's
if it's
play for the
perfectly
shot and heavy's always a miss.
if it's perfectly placed there, then yeah, you're probably winning the game. But there's 2 spots on the short side and the deep side of throwing it to there where you leave a double that you could give up the tie. If you throw it in the back of the 8 foot, they don't have it. So Rhyme throwing out turn draw. All she has to do is get a counter that doesn't leave the double. This rock is going deep. Deep is fine as long as it's back 8 foot and not
Looks like
back
eight.
12.
No, back
Yeah,
4.
no, that should be just fine. So now for Strauss, she's got to play the redirect off the rock in the top of the 12, but not jam on the yellow in the back of the 12s on the opposite side. So they could have finished that probably even more than they did, but really tough shot here for Delaney. I think it's there because you just need to push that rock out the side of the rings.
Doesn't need to go much, just 2 feet, and then. But the hard part is hitting the second rock on the right spot.
Yeah, it's because it has to hit a little high so it doesn't spill out the side,
Yep.
but it can't hit so high that it jams on the rock in the back of the 12. So, but I think it just might be there. So for the shot of the week so far, if Strauss can make it, trying to
Color
redirect. It's going to be too thick. That will be game. Steal 1 for Team Rhyme. And after getting down 4-1, they run the table the rest of the game. 8-4 victory for Kim and her squad.
Yeah.
We're going to do the quick sign-off, Jax.
Works for me.
We're good there.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks for everybody for watching. 8:15 again tonight for another feature game. God knows who's going to be in here. I wish them well.
Good luck.
For Elliot, Tyler, Jax, signing off. Thanks for watching. Please tune back in 8:15 tonight. We'll see you later.